Hi, my name is Leanne Kaufman, and I'm a nursing student at Western Governors University. This is an informative presentation on CPR. Out-of-hospital cardiac arrest affects approximately 300,000 people in the United States every year. A study conducted by Dr. Bobrow in Arizona and published in 2010 found that bystander CPR was performed less than 30% of those cases, with a survival rate less than 10%. It is apparent that something needs to be done to increase the public's participation in cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Saying no to lip locking and yes to heart thumping could very well be the answer. Research suggests that compression-only CPR is more effective in out-of-hospital cardiopulmonary resuscitation than traditional CPR because of its simplicity and the removal of bystanders' fear of mouth-to-mouth contact. Research has shown that compression-only CPR is effective and simple. An article written in Time magazine in 2010 by Meredith Melnick that was an overview of 3 different studies on the subject found and came to the conclusion that just about anybody can perform chest compressions. Which leads me to my second point. If it's simple, more people will do it. Daniel Stolt of the Sarver Heart Center found in 2008 that compression-only CPR increases bystanders' involvement in the initiation of CPR due to the removal of mouth-to-mouth contact. Traditional CPR is less effective in saving lives than compression-only CPR. That is a bold statement, but let's look at the numbers. The following graph here is based on a study that was conducted by Dr. Bobrow that was mentioned earlier in the introduction. The Arizona Department of Health Services study analyzed 4,415 adults who experienced cardiac arrest in out-of-hospital settings. 3 different categories were studied. Those individuals that received no CPR had a survival rate of just 5.2%. Those individuals that received traditional CPR, the second bar here, had a survival rate that wasn't much better. It was at 7.6%. And those individuals that received compression-only CPR had a survival rate that was 13.3%, almost double that of those who received traditional CPR. One of the suggestive causes for the low traditional CPR survival rates was the complexity of the task. Those individuals who were expected to perform both rescue breathing and compression were panicked. Denise Mann of WebMD concluded in her article in 2010 that traditional CPR was a complex process. It's harder to learn, it's more difficult to remember. And Daniel Stolt of the Sarver Heart Institute also concluded that compression-only CPR, because it was simple and easy to remember, was a more effective way of performing cardiopulmonary resuscitation. The Arizona study by Dr. Bobrow found that the removal of those extra steps of giving breaths and also providing compressions, when you remove those extra steps, the person could focus in on the most important vital step of just doing compressions. This validated the findings of the Sarver Heart Center that continuous uninterrupted chest compressions provides better rates of survival in cardiac arrest. When you remove the fear of mouth-to-mouth contact, according to Ms. Mann of WebMD, bystanders are more likely to initiate CPR. The Sarver Heart Center found that the gross out factor, people having to think about putting their lips on a stranger or even somebody that they know, that when you remove that barrier, people again are more likely to become involved in initiating CPR. The Arizona study by Dr. Bobrow found that bystanders again were likely to initiate compression-only CPR at a rate of 75.9% versus the traditional CPR rate of only 19.6%. Are there any questions?
Yes. How does the body receive oxygen in compression-only CPR?
That's an excellent question. The Arizona Sarver Heart Center states that the body has several minutes of oxygen when the person collapses. That oxygen level is adequate enough to last them, usually until somebody arrives on the scene medically trained. What's most important is that oxygen-rich blood reaches the vital tissues and organs, and the way to do that is through chest compressions. That's a good question. Are there any other questions?
Yes. Can chest compressions restart the heart?
Usually not. No. When we go back to the research study that was done in Arizona by Dr. Bourbeau, something they did find, though, that was very interesting, is that those individuals that were receiving compression-only CPR, when EMS arrived on the scene, 33.7% of those individuals had a shockable rhythm, versus those individuals who were receiving traditional CPR. Those individuals were found to only have a shockable rhythm at 17.6%. So let's review. Research suggests that compression-only CPR is more effective in cardiopulmonary resuscitation than traditional CPR because of its simplicity and the removal of bystanders' fear of mouth-to-mouth contact. According to the Starboard Heart Center and WebMD, and also Dr. Bourbeau's study in Arizona, when you remove the fear of mouth-to-mouth contact, more people are going to initiate CPR. And again, compression-only CPR is a simple process that almost anybody can perform. When you begin to increase the public's participation in providing immediate CPR, it's going to have a dramatic effect on cardiac arrest survival rates. A study conducted and published in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2010 validated that. Dr. Bourbeau's findings again emphasized that when you encourage people to simply give compressions, it makes a vast difference in those individuals that survive. So in conclusion, I'd like to just bring us back to the one statement that I made at the beginning of this presentation, and I hope that if you don't remember anything else, you remember this, because it could save someone's life. Just say no to lip locking and yes to heart thumping. Thank you for your time.